Yes, I've just returned from Hollywood where I was nominated for an Oscar. Oh yeah.
No? Not so good?
We don't seem to realize Chinese people and Western people and everyone in between, we all have so much in common. I mean, our traditions, our culture, our language, the food, and all
they
these...
still make those.
Yeah, they
those
do.
Things that
Those...
shake you around.
Make sure you get your visa before you set out.
And are these things used in Xinjiang cooking? Right.
Thanks, Mum. So if you want to enjoy your trip, why not take the train? Why not ride a bicycle? Thank you so much for that. It was one of the best performances. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Welcome to China Tales. I'm Roseanne Lake, here today with one of Britain's leading men, Paul Teller. He's just back from the Oscars, is that it?
Yes, I've just returned from Hollywood where I was nominated for an Oscar.
You're a very well-seasoned traveler around China. You've been popping in and out since the 80s.
That's correct, I have.
But what about this last trip to Xinjiang?
Well, the reason I decided to make this trip was I've always wanted to go on the Karakoram Highway, which is an amazing engineering feat which links China and Pakistan via some of the highest mountain passes in the world.
It's the highest highway in the world.
I believe it is. Yep. There are other very high roads in South America, for example, but it's one of the very highest. And I decided to go in March because a friend of mine in Pakistan was going to be married in April. And so I flew to Kashi, and I had a wonderful time there. It's an amazing city. It's got a lot of mosques and forts and other interesting things to see.
Colors, spices.
Absolutely, they've got a bazaar, and of course the people who live in that area in Kashgar, although there's a lot of Han Chinese, there's a great many Uyghurs who are the majority population, and they have a kind of Turkic appearance. They look like people might look in Eastern Turkey, and they wear hats. And some of them are very pale skins, you know, so they look somehow European, more European than I do, in fact. So it's very, very interesting. And the food, I mean, everyone seems to be...
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
No? Not so good?
No, the food is fantastic, but it's slightly limited at that time of year because, you know, Xinjiang is an area of... it's a meat-eating area.
Yes.
Vegetables are fairly scarce. People love meat, and when you walk down the street, everybody seems to be eating a shashlik or a kebab, like a yangrochun. If you go to Beijing and you have a yangrochun, you notice it's small.
Yeah.
But in Xinjiang, it's much bigger. It's very meaty. So I probably ate about 150 sheep during my trip. And, you know, I think there's a shortage of sheep in Xinjiang after my visit. As a result
of your visit?
Yeah.
Okay. And no vegetables, you weren't consuming?
No, well, there are. I mean, Chinese restaurants have more vegetables. I mean, Xinjiang people do like vegetables, but they're surprisingly expensive, especially during the colder months.
Sure.
During the summer, tomatoes and other vegetables are freely available. The price drops, and I think a lot more vegetables are eaten. But at this time of year, it's mostly meat. Poyo, which is a traditional Uyghur speciality. This is a rice dish. It's like a basmati, a pillav rice, with small pieces of meat in it and kind of saffron type stuff. So it's a bit like an Indian basmati. To give some European examples, a paella, or a risotto. So it's very, very delicious, and that's a typical Xinjiang dish.
This is just a wild guess, but maybe the paella and the risotto and this particular dish were recipes that somehow were made up along the Silk Road. I mean,
well, this is true, but I think you know, we don't seem to realize Chinese people and Western people and everyone in between, we all have so much in common. I mean, our traditions, our culture, our language, the food. So if we did improve the local economy, which in fact has improved a lot in recent years, because I couldn't believe how many fabulous restaurants there are in Kashi.
Kashgar.
Everyone was, you know, they really love their food. And, I mean, could I mention a particular restaurant? Would that be okay?
Please do, yes.
The Eden Hotel, the manager there is a very, very nice man. He welcomed me, speaks excellent English. And they have a fabulous Turkish restaurant in the Eden Hotel, which is a very nice hotel to stay in Kashgar. A lot of photographers stay there. Maybe if you go there, you can stay there yourself. And he took me as a treat to the Turkish restaurant where I had some delicious Turkish dishes. And of course, they have a fabulous Xinjiang menu as well.
I would imagine, yes.
So that's a fabulous restaurant. And you know, it's packed, especially at weekends. So clearly people have money. You know, I mean, people are not poor. And this is it. When you look around Kashgar, you'll notice that so many people have cars, 4x4s. I mean, they drive like maniacs there. I mean, you know, it's like the Wild West.
Yes.
You know, every time I crossed the road, I was like, oh my God, you know, I was like running for my life. In fact,
Cars, animals,
Am
everything.
I still alive? I think I'm just about alive. I really am surprised to have... That was the only... That was the most frightening thing about Kashgar.
Really? Crossing the street?
Crossing the street. And the reason I went to Kashgar, or Kashi, was in order to go over the Karakoram highway with a bicycle. I was going to buy a bicycle, a mountain bike. But I planned it wrong. And this is my advice to anyone. Make sure you get your visa before you set out. I thought I could beat the system because there is visa on arrival in Sost, which is on the Pakistan border, but only during the months when the road is open. I thought I could be clever. I thought I could do it my way, but you can't. The system is a lot bigger than we are. I miscalculated, and as a seasoned traveller who's been to 83 countries, I should have known better. I made a mistake, and unfortunately I couldn't get out of this issue, and I had to return to Beijing. Mission, I'm afraid, unaccomplished.
Okay, so you didn't make it to this wedding in Pakistan?
No, I didn't, but I did get to Tashkurgan.
Oh, yes, tell us about.
Well, Tashkurgan, I mean, many Westerners don't know much about Xinjiang. As things stand, the Uyghur people are about 48% of the population. Han is maybe 42%, and the rest are a combination of Kazakhs, Tajiks, Hui, Mongolians, Kyrgyz, and other minorities. So it's a real mixed bag. It's a bit like Macedonia. It's a Balkanized place.
Right.
And more or less people get on okay. There are issues. But the area of Tashkurgan, which is on the border of Tajikistan and Pakistan, is a Tajik majority area. The people of that town are about 90% Tajik. And the Tajik have a different clothing. The women have a special hat. And you can recognize the minorities, the Tajiks and so on, based upon their clothing.
Their clothing, I would imagine.
And the Tajik language is not similar to Turkish at all. It's completely different to Uyghur. The Tajik language is very similar to Iranian. It's a Farsi language. Okay? So it's quite important to notice this. Just because people are Muslim doesn't mean they have the same culture.
Right, of course.
Tajik culture, Uyghur culture, Kazakh culture, Kyrgyz culture is all very, and Hui culture, they're all Muslims.
And they're all living in this area?
Well, not so much in Tashkurgan. Tashkurgan is mostly Tajik. I mean, different towns have different balances of people.
They managed to,
Ulamuchi, you know, maybe 60% Han, 30% Uyghur.
Right.
In Kashgar, it'd probably be the other way around. So everywhere in Xinjiang, you have different balances between the people. But you know, for me as a tourist, I think it's fantastic that all these people live together because you have all the benefit. I could have Chinese food one day.
You don't have to go very far.
I could have Uyghur food the next day. I could have Tajik food. Or I could have Hui hot pot, which is fantastic. Do you like hot pot? I'm talking to you there at home if you're watching this. Huagua is it called?
Huagua.
Huagua. And I love the hot pot. I just love hot pot.
What's so special about this particular hot pot?
Well, I think the special thing is that because it's a Hui, Uyghur people can enjoy it too.
Oh, okay.
With a traditional Sichuan restaurant, you know, pork may be on the menu.
Right, so then they're out.
And the nice thing about Hui people is that they're very moderate and that you can buy beer with your hot pot.
Oh, okay.
In most Xinjiang restaurants, which are Uyghur run,
beer is not,
beer isn't available. Although Uyghur people, I mean, I walked in the street and had a beer and nobody said anything. So actually people seem fairly open-minded. And I did notice a lot of Uyghur people were speaking very good English.
Oh.
So, you know, I found them pretty friendly. Probably their English level is better than that of Han people.
Do you think that's a result of schooling, because a necessity for the jobs that they're doing?
I think maybe it's because of their trading location.
Yeah.
I mean, typically...
English has become the common denominator for them.
Well, they don't have much need to use English that I can see, because you know, the countries to the north, mostly they speak Russian as a lingua franca.
Right.
Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, most of the local people there speak Russian in addition to their local language.
So this plan to ride along the highest highway in the world on a bike, where did this come about, and how successful were you in doing it?
Well, you know, I really prefer, if I have a choice of a plane or a train, I take a train. And I do believe that a bicycle is the very best way to see a place. Yeah. I love riding my bicycle in Beijing. Xinjiang is not so bicycle friendly in the cities.
Because of the cars that we discussed?
Yes, in Urumqi, in a big city in Xinjiang, and also, of course, Beijing is very flat.
Yes, Urumqi's not so flat.
No, there's hills and stuff, and of course in the winter there's a lot of ice and snow.
Right.
Means riding a bicycle is problematic.
So what's the best way to get around there?
Taxis are very cheap. Taxis, I think the flagfall for a taxi in Xinjiang is about 6 yuan.
Okay. So
whereas here it's 10,
yeah.
and in Shanghai it's going to be 18 soon.
Yes, it's getting quite pricey.
Yeah.
And once you're, I mean, what do you do once you're around there? I think few travelers, I mean, the common destinations in China are, you know, Dalian, Lijiang. When you're based in Beijing, these are the places you go. Xinjiang is maybe for the more adventurous, I think it's fair to say.
I don't think it is for the more adventurous. I think it's just a bit far to reach. I mean, China is such an enormous country. Yeah. It's actually bigger than the United States. So obviously the logistics of getting there. But there is a convenient flight now from Beijing to Kashgar with a very short stopover in Urumqi. The stopover is just an hour.
Okay.
So you can travel an awful long way. You can leave at 9 a.m. And you can be in Kashgar, which is halfway to Europe, at 5 p.m. on the same day.
That's quite nice, yes.
To take a train would take you about 72 hours, including a stopover.
You like taking trains, but perhaps
I
not
do
that
like
much.
taking a train, but I also need to use my time wisely. And I think I paid for my flights to Kashgar about 1,400 yuan.
Okay, so about $230 or so.
Something like that, and I think it was money well spent.
And how long did you stay in Kashgar?
I spent about I spent about 2 weeks there because I was trying to organize my onward trip. I mean, that included my trip to Tashkurgan. I took a pickup truck and I sat in the front seat, and it was pretty cheap. It was about 5 hours by pickup, and beautiful, beautiful scenery.
This is how you got from Kashgar
to Tashkurgan.
To Tashkurgan,
and you pass Karakul Mountain, Karakul Lake.
Tell us about the lake. The scenery a little bit.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I wasn't able to stop. But
Tell us about the lake from the pickup truck.
It's a pristine. Well, I got the best seat next to the driver. So it's a pristine alpine lake, and in the distance there's yurts, these kind of houses, and you can also see some yaks and zhou. Zhou is like a mixture of a yak and a cow.
Okay.
And also an amazing thing from Xinjiang is the Bactrian camel. It is an enormous camel with 2 humps.
Yes.
Very hairy, very big, very strong, and if you get the chance, please try the milk, because the milk from this camel is really delicious and nutritious.
Very salty?
It is a bit salty. It's a yogurty taste.
Okay.
If you like yogurt, and I do, because my mum's Greek, I love Greek yogurt, if you try that, I think you'll like the yogurt. I think you'll like this milk from a camel. People who like milk products will like camel milk. It's not a peculiar taste. It's just a kind of a yogurty taste.
I think I've read that this particular camel, the Bactrian camel, only drinks salt water.
I've no idea, but I know for a fact that in the summer, this animal is extraordinary, because in the summer the temperatures can be, like in somewhere like Turpan, can get up to 50 centigrade.
Yes.
Unbelievably hot. And in the winter, it can be like -30 or -35. And this camel can live outdoors in all these
entire year.
conditions. What an incredible animal that can live without any shelter.
And it's equally hairy the entire time. It doesn't shed. I mean,
Now,
50 degree.
I have to admit, my knowledge of camels is limited. I'm not sure.
Are they at least groomed for the 50-degree weather?
Well, they've got. I think the hair keeps them cool in the summer
Okay.
because I think it reflects the light or something. And they've got enormous.
hooves or
Well, they're not hooves, are they? They've got pads on their feet.
Right.
And when it gets very, they spread them out to make them so they don't sink into the sand.
Ah, okay.
But apart from anything else, I think that the Taklamakan Desert, the Taklamakan Desert is extremely, is quite hard, it's very rocky.
So they don't sink as easily.
No, it's not like the Sahara. It is an enormous desert. If you take the train, I took the train back to Urumqi, Kashgar to Urumqi, and that's about 24 hours. And you look out the window, and for hours on end, all you see is rocks.
Desert and red. Oh, rocks.
It's not like the Sahara. It's not those sand
Not
dunes.
yeah. Did you visit the Camel Reserve?
No, I didn't,
It's
and I
the
didn't even
largest
know
in the
there was
world,
one.
I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's an option maybe to. I don't know whether they have feral camels there, but in Australia, for example, they have lots of camels. About 1 million camels that were imported from India. Now they've gone wild, and they're thinking of actually, because there's too many of them, they're thinking of actually butchering them and selling the meat, because camel meat is actually pretty tasty.
Is it consumed in Xinjiang at all? Or?
I think camel meat is halal.
So 2 weeks in Kashgar, what else did you do aside from plan this trip? I mean, what can one do in Kashgar?
Well, I
It's
made
one of
some local friends, and a lot of people wanted to practice
Yeah,
their
what are
English.
the locals like?
Well, they're very keen to practice English.
Okay. Where you met your friends who were eager to speak English. I'd like to hear a bit
Both,
about that.
both
Oh,
in Kash and Urumqi. In fact, there's a guy I'd like to say hello to now, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Almas. Almas was a local Uyghur businessman in Tajikistan, in
Kashgar.
Urumqi.
Urumqi.
He had a small shop selling health products. You know, those,
Oh.
for women to lose weight and stuff. And all
They
these.
still make those?
Yeah, they
those
do.
Things that
Those-
shake you around?
I mean, whether they work or not, I have no idea.
Probably not.
But he
I
was
don't know.
very, very nice man, and because I had a problem with my passport, I needed to get a visa. I used his office like my base while I was trying to negotiate with the Pakistani embassy to get my visa. So this man took pity on me and let me use his office and his computer to send emails backwards and forwards, and I had to post my passport to the Pakistan embassy here.
So this guy was very, he took pity on you.
Yes,
And
he
then
saw me
sort of-
passing by and he talked to me. His English was really excellent. And he had a small shop, and most of his customers were women, health, vitamin supplements,
Okay.
slimming teas and stuff.
There's a market for this there.
Of course there is.
I thought it was considered more beautiful to be a little bit on the plumper side.
I don't think that's actually true.
myth.
I don't think that's true. A lot of the women, they have all kinds of. Some of them are very white, could look like you even. Some of them have got dark skin, look like from the Southeast Europe perhaps, or Turkey. Some look a little bit like gypsies, I suppose. Very different. I think it's a cultural thing. I think it's your religion, your language, the type of food you like, your culture.
So he had this little shop where many women come in.
Yeah.
Did you speak with any of them?
Well, not really,
No,
because
you were focused.
well, first of all, I mean, I don't want to interrupt his work. It's a business. The second thing is that in Xinjiang, Muslim women don't usually talk to
men.
to men.
Foreign men especially.
It's considered. It's not part of their local culture.
Right, okay.
But Tajik women are a lot more open
Okay.
compared to Uyghur.
So you can maybe almost tell where a woman is from by how friendly she is.
Well, I mean, no one is going to be that
Of
friendly.
course, yeah.
But in terms of the Tajik women, seem to have a slightly more open. I mean, this is a
Disposition
generalization.
to-
Okay,
of course.
I'm not trying to. A lot of what we say in life is a generalization.
Of course.
I mean, is it
Just
hot
for the sake of
for
trying to arrive at some conclusion. that's
Exactly. I mean,
reasonably-
like in England, I mean, is it hot in the summer? Well, it can be.
Right, exactly.
Not always.
Yeah, okay.
You can't. It can rain and be quite cool.
Right, exactly.
So,
It
but
depends.
it depends. So, but I do think that generally speaking, most people are pretty nice.
And did this gentleman tell you anything about his family? I mean, you see.
Yes, he's about to get married, actually. He's going to be married this summer. He's got a beautiful fiancée. And right now he's busy developing his website. So, Almas, if you're listening to this, thank you very much for your hospitality. You are a great ambassador for Xinjiang and for China, in fact. And also, I appreciate the fact he's got very moderate, sensible opinions about, you know,
what's
making
going on
in the world. And he recognizes these things. So he's a very sensible man. And also, another guy I'd like to say hello to Alim from the Eden Hotel and Restaurant in Kashgar. Alim, thank you very much for your hospitality. I really appreciate it.
So he took you mainly around the Eden Hotel. Were there places around town that he recommended? I mean, I'm sure as someone in the tourism industry, he would have some good recommendations.
Well, we went to some local restaurants. I mean, you know, he's a full-time manager of a hotel.
Right.
He's not on holiday.
No, right.
I went to the old part of town where the mosques are, and just walking in the marketplace, watching people eat the shashlik. If I'd come in the summer, also the raisins. That's another very nice thing.
Raisins?
The raisins. Xinjiang raisins are highly sought after.
Oh.
And if you try the raisins here in Beijing, they seem to be very dry.
They are.
But the raisins, I bought back raisins. Somebody asked me to bring back raisins, so I bought back raisins from Xinjiang. And they were nice and sweet and succulent. Nice and soft.
This is true. The ones here are almost grainy.
Yes. Yeah. These ones are...
Why is it? I mean, is it all those grape trees?
Well, I suppose
or vines?
Nearer the source.
Yeah.
I guess it's like beer. If you buy beer from the village, by the time if it's exported to the other side of the world, it's lost its flavour.
Right.
So it's like milk, fresh milk.
It's a different, yeah.
If you get fresh milk from a cow, it's going to taste a lot better than something that's been stuck in a supermarket for a week.
Yeah.
So I presume one of the reasons is, and also there's so many different kinds of raisins. You've got the yellow ones, the black ones, the green ones, different sizes. It's very confusing.
Plums as well, maybe plums and prunes.
Yes. Another thing I tried there was, and it's not actually a local product, but because they have a different taste, dates. Dates from Algeria. Absolutely.
Dates. They were a big
ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I got a big tray of dates for 30 yen. I love dates. Do you like dates?
Not as much as I like raisins, but...
But these ones these are really big ones. The little dates you have in China are usually the ones used in a hot pot.
Yes.
Which are delicious too, but they're not dessert dates. These are dessert dates.
Yeah, they're practically like candy, yeah.
Absolutely, and they're really full of nutrition. Of course, if you live in a place like a desert area, you have to...
They're quite handy.
Of course,
yeah.
because it's,
And they're not going to go bad in the heat.
They seem to last, but they still retain their freshness.
And are these things used in Xinjiang cooking? Do you find a lot of raisins and dates?
They do use raisins in the poyo. This is one of the dishes in the rice dish.
Almost like a couscous, I guess, in that case.
Yes, you can also have raisins also added in Italian food sometimes to like a risotto. Yes, they are used, and it makes sense because it's a local product.
It's nutritious, it's local.
And it keeps during the winter months.
Of course.
Whereas, melon, which is extremely famous in Xinjiang.
The Hami melon.
The melon, very famous. But
Did you have any? Was it maybe
not at that time
season?
of year? No, it's not the right time of year. But you can get them imported into
the Hami melon, yeah.
in the summer.
Yeah.
But clearly in the summer months, if you happen to be in Xinjiang, you can buy like really delicious melon for like 1 yuan a gin.
Oh wow!
So this is what you must do if you go there in the summer. And I do think it makes sense to go there in the summer. The days are longer. It's not so cold. It's still cool at night. You don't have to bundle up.
Those sound like enough perks for me. You get the melons, you get the raisins, and you get to walk under the grape trellises, and
also you get to see the mountains, because northern Xinjiang is a Kazakh area. The Kazakhs have like horse milk, and they live in these yurts. There's a forested area. It's a bit like Siberia.
Right.
Very beautiful area. I'm afraid I haven't been there, but from everything I've heard from other tourists and from guidebooks and from my own research, next time I go back to Xinjiang, I'm definitely going to go there as well.
Well, in order to prepare prepare you for your next trip,
Yeah.
we have a little Xinjiang-themed quiz.
Okay.
That we might, if you're willing, we will share with you now.
Okay. Well, thanks for the quiz. I hope I know the answers.
I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit too easy for you, but
Okay, all right then.
we're going to try.
All right.
Which of the following movies did not have at least a scene filmed in Xinjiang?
Oh dear.
Would you like a multiple choice?
Well, I don't think I'll know the answer to this, but you're more than
obviously
welcome.
It has to be a multiple choice because
It doesn't have a scene from Xinjiang in it.
Let me
Okay,
do this
all right
again.
then.
Which of the following movies
Yeah.
did not have at least a scene filmed in Xinjiang?
Okay.
So your choices are The Kite Runner, Avatar, or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
I think it might be. I'm going to guess it's Avatar because I know that was filmed in another part of China. I think I was in those cast. Was it in
Yunnan.
Hubei or was
I
it
think
Yunnan?
it was Yunnan.
That was Hubei.
Could be. There were those mountains that
Yeah.
were filmed. Yes.
Okay, so I got that right, did
Yes, you did get it right.
I? Thanks, Mum.
The Kite Runner was actually entirely filmed in Kashgar.
Well, and it makes sense too because the scenery in that location will be rather similar to Afghanistan.
Exactly,
which
what the movie's about.
is nearby.
Yes, and let me see. And there was a scene from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, filmed in the Karamay Ghost City in the north.
Okay, yeah, that's in the area I've just been mentioning, which is in the Kazakh area in the north,
So that's where
near the Russian border.
a scene of Crouching Tiger, Hidden
yeah,
Dragon.
okay.
Okay, well, that was a little bit too easy for you.
Well,
Let's try this one. Which tech billionaire spent a part of his honeymoon in Xinjiang?
Oh, I'm going to get. Hang on a minute. No, I know, it can't be. Well, it wouldn't be a tech billionaire.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say the guy from Facebook, but it's not him because he's not married.
He's not married. But he is dating a Chinese woman.
It wouldn't be. Could it be Bill Gates?
It is Bill Gates.
Is it good?
He actually spent only a few hours in Xinjiang, but he and his wife were checking out the Mummy Museum in Xinjiang. There is a Mummy Museum in Xinjiang, and they spent some time there. And this last one, because I feel like the other questions I've prepared, you'll know the answers to. Xinjiang is home to the oldest Chinese what?
Oh dear.
This is a very difficult one. I should have made up a multiple choice.
Oldest Chinese. I don't know.
I'll try to give you a clue here. This is a legend.
Oh.
Apparently there's a legend that an ancient Chinese soldier got very bored while stationed in one of the garrison towers along the Silk Road. And he had some paper with him and began to do something with it. And this is now known as the oldest Chinese something that can be done with paper.
Calligraphy?
Actually origami.
Oh, origami.
Like a paper cutting.
Oh, I always thought that it might be a Japanese art form, but a lot of things that we think
I'm saying origami, but it's
Chinese?
the art of cutting and folding paper.
Yeah.
So paper cutting.
It's a bit like tofu, you know. I mean, it's part of both cultures.
Yeah,
but
degrees
perhaps
origins.
maybe it was actually originally from China, but
It's those
it's hard
things
to
that
say.
get borrowed.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks.
So
for the
anyway,
tofu.
this is a bit of a legend.
Okay.
But his paper creation was found and dated back to the 5th or 6th century during the Southern and Northern dynasties.
Okay, I'd be interested to know what the Chinese word for origami is. Like, obviously, it isn't origami,
I
is it?
don't know it. Before we close up, do you have any other sort of golden nuggets of travel advice for Xinjiang?
Well, I think obviously, like anything else, it's plan your trip, particularly the paperwork. Check out ways to get to places. To travel is better than to arrive. So if you want to enjoy your trip, why not take the train? Why not ride a bicycle? Or maybe hire a taxi and do it like that, or hire a car. You don't have to do it in the quickest way, because as you travel, you meet people.
Of course.
Sitting on a train, I love to sleep on a train. You're rocking around. I love that, and then you can have a beer, look out the window, look at the people, share an agua towel, and that's a beautiful way to travel. So that's part of your travel too. It's not just about getting as quickly as possible from A to B.
Of course, it's the journey.
The journey between A and B may be just as interesting as A and B. It may even...
Or more interesting.
Sometimes be more interesting.
Unfortunately, sometimes that happens.
Exactly, and I hope next time I get a chance to fulfill my dream on the Karakoram Highway. I'm going to do it sooner or later.
Okay, well, best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we'll have you back to tell us more about the Karakoram Highway once you've
And I
realized
did.
that.
Your Oscar-winning performance was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that. It was one of the best performances. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that wraps it up for China Tales. I'm Roseanne Lake. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.